The ballroom glittered like a sky full of stars. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Their crystals caught the light and threw it across the marble floor. Ladies wore gowns of silk and velvet. Men stood tall in their dark coats. Music floated through the air. Violins sang. Dancers moved in perfect circles. But Serafina did not dance. She stood at the edge of the room. Her hands clutched the sides of her pale blue gown. Her heart beat so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Her throat felt tight. Her palms were damp. She could feel the eyes of the crowd on her, even though no one was looking yet. Not yet. She took a breath, then another. Her legs shook beneath her skirts. She could still leave. She could run out the doors and disappear into the night. No one would stop her. No one would care. But that was the problem. No one cared. And if she did not do this, she would be ruined anyway. So she stepped forward. The music played on. The dancers spun. Serafina walked through the crowd. Her shoes clicked softly against the floor. She passed ladies who whispered behind their fans. She passed gentlemen who barely glanced her way. She was no one to them, just the daughter of a minor baron, a girl with no fortune and no future. But tonight, she would make them see her. She reached the center of the ballroom. The music began to slow. The dancers pulled apart. Couples bowed and curtsied. The crowd began to shift. And then she saw him. Lucian Ashford, the Duke of Greymont. He stood near the far wall, tall, broad-shouldered. His dark hair was swept back from his face. His jaw was sharp. His eyes were cold and grey like winter fog. He did not smile. He never smiled. He watched the room the way a wolf watched a forest. Calculating, distant, dangerous. Serafina's stomach twisted. She had only spoken to him once, 3 months ago, at a garden party. He had asked her if she liked the roses. She had said yes. He had nodded and walked away. That was all. He had never touched her, never held her hand, never stood too close, never whispered her name. But tonight, she would say he had. She opened her mouth. The room grew quieter. The music stopped. The conductor lowered his baton. People turned to look. Serafina's voice came out louder than she expected. "I'm pregnant." The words hung in the air like smoke. No one moved. No one breathed. Then she turned. She looked directly at Lucian. Her chin lifted, her hands steadied. "And the child is yours, Your Grace." The silence shattered. Gasps erupted around her. Ladies clutched their fans. Men straightened. Whispers exploded like fireworks. The Duke's name flew from mouth to mouth. Pregnant, the Duke. His child. But Lucian did not move. He stood perfectly still. His face showed nothing. No shock, no anger, no confusion. His gray eyes locked onto hers. They did not blink. They did not soften. He stared at her like she was a puzzle he intended to solve. Then, slowly, he began to walk toward her. The crowd parted. People stepped back. Their whispers grew louder. Serafina's heart hammered. Her hands began to shake again. She wanted to run. She wanted to disappear. But she could not move. She could only stand there and watch him come closer. He stopped in front of her. Up close, he was even more frightening. His shoulders blocked out the light. His presence filled the space between them. He smelled like pine and leather. His expression was carved from stone. "Miss Serafina Holt," he said quietly. His voice was deep, calm, deadly. She swallowed. "Your Grace." He tilted his head, just slightly. "You claim the child is mine?" "Yes." "And when, precisely, did this encounter occur?" Her throat tightened. She had prepared for this. She had practiced the lie in her mirror 100 times. But now, standing before him, The words felt heavy. 3 months ago, she said. At the Haverfield garden party. You walked me to the rose arbor. We spoke. And then... She let the sentence trail off. Let them imagine the rest. Lucian's eyes did not leave hers. I remember the garden party. Her pulse stuttered. I remember the roses, he continued. I remember asking if you liked them. She nodded. I also remember, he said softly, that I left immediately after. I spoke to you for less than 2 minutes, and I have not seen you since. The crowd leaned in. Whispers buzzed. Serafina's breath caught, but she did not look away. She could not. If she showed fear now, it was over. You came back, she said. Her voice trembled but held. Later, after dark, you found me alone. His jaw tightened. Just a fraction, but she saw it. I see, he said. Then he did something she did not expect. He smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was sharp, dangerous. It made her stomach drop. Very well, he said. He turned to the crowd, his voice carried across the ballroom. If Miss Holt claims the child is mine, then I will do what honor demands. The gasps came again, louder this time. Lucian looked back at her. His eyes glittered. We will be married, 1 week from today. Serafina's knees went weak. She had expected anger. She had expected denial. She had expected him to call her a liar and throw her out. But marriage? She opened her mouth to speak, but he leaned closer. His breath brushed her ear. Play your part well, Miss Holt, he whispered, because if you falter, I will destroy you. Then he straightened. He offered her his arm like a gentleman. She took it because she had no choice. The crowd erupted into applause and shocked murmurs. The scandal was sealed. The Duke and the liar bound together. And Serafina knew she had just made a terrible mistake. But she did not know yet how terrible it truly was. The morning sun crept through the curtains of Serafina's small bedroom. It touched the worn rug. It lit the cracks in the plaster walls. She lay in her narrow bed and stared at the ceiling. She had not slept. Her mind had spun all night. Images of the ball, the gasps, the whispers, Lucian's cold smile, his whispered threat, I will destroy you. She pressed her hands to her face. What had she done? The plan had seemed so simple when her stepmother proposed it. Serafina's father had died 2 years ago. He left debts, mountains of debts. The house would be taken, the land sold. Serafina and her stepmother would be thrown into the streets, unless Serafina could secure a marriage. But no man wanted her. She had no dowry, no connections, no beauty that turned heads. So her stepmother had suggested the lie. Pick a man too proud to deny it, a man who would marry her to protect his name. The Duke of Greymont was perfect. He was wealthy, powerful, untouchable, and he had spoken to her once. It was enough, or so her stepmother had said. Now, lying in bed, Serafina felt the weight of the lie pressing down on her chest. Lucian had agreed to marry her, but his eyes had promised revenge. A knock sounded at her door. Miss Serafina. It was Mary, the housemaid. You have a visitor. Serafina sat up. Her heart jumped. Who? The Duke, miss. The air left her lungs. She scrambled out of bed. Her hands shook as she pulled on a simple day dress. She pinned her dark hair up quickly. No powder, no jewelry. There was no time. She walked downstairs. Her legs felt like water. Lucian stood in the front parlour. He looked out of place in the small room. His coat was perfectly tailored, his boots polished. He held his gloves in one hand. When she entered, he turned. His expression was unreadable. Miss Holt, he said. She curtsied. Your Grace. He glanced around the room, at the faded wallpaper, the threadbare furniture, the cracked mirror above the mantel. His gaze returned to her. We need to speak, he said. Privately. She nodded. She led him to the tiny library at the back of the house. It smelled of old books and dust. She closed the door behind them. Lucien did not sit. He stood with his back to the window. The light made his face hard to read. "You lied," he said simply. Serafina's throat tightened, but she lifted her chin. "I told the truth." "No." His voice was soft but sharp. "You did not. I have never touched you. I have never been alone with you. And I have certainly never done what you accused me of." She said nothing. He stepped closer. "So I will ask you once. Why?" Her hands clenched at her sides. She wanted to tell him. She wanted to explain the debts, the desperation, the fear of being cast out with nothing. But if she admitted the lie, he would walk away, and she would lose everything. So she met his eyes. "The child is yours." His jaw tightened. For a moment she thought he would shout, but he did not. He only stared at her. Then he laughed. It was a cold, bitter sound. "You are either very brave or very foolish," he said. "Perhaps both," she whispered. He studied her. His grey eyes moved over her face, searching for something. "You understand that I could ruin you. I could tell the world you are a liar. I could have you arrested for slander." "You could," she agreed. "But you won't." "And why is that?" "Because you agreed to marry me, in front of everyone. If you back out now, people will ask why. They will wonder what you are hiding. They will question your honor." His eyes narrowed. "You think you are clever." "I think I am desperate." The honesty surprised even her. Lucien was silent for a long moment. Then he sighed. He turned away and walked to the window. His shoulders were tense. "You will marry me," he said quietly. "You will live in my house. You will play the role of my wife. But understand this, Miss Holt. I will uncover the truth. I will learn why you did this. And when I do—" He looked back at her. His eyes were cold. "You will regret it." She swallowed hard. "I understand." He nodded. Then he walked past her to the door. He paused with his hand on the handle. "The wedding is in 6 days," he said. "Be ready." Then he was gone. Serafina stood alone in the library. Her heart raced, her hands trembled. She had won. But it did not feel like victory. The Duke's estate was called Thornhill Manor. It sat on a hill surrounded by dark woods. The house was built of grey stone, tall windows, sharp towers. It looked like something from a ghost story. Serafina arrived 3 days before the wedding. A carriage brought her from her small house to the gates of Thornhill. She sat inside with her one trunk of belongings. Her stepmother had not come. She had only smiled and said, "Do not fail." The carriage stopped in front of the main entrance. A butler opened the door. He was an older man with a stiff back and no expression. "Miss Holt," he said. "Welcome to Thornhill Manor. I am Mr. Greaves. Please follow me." She stepped out. The air was cooler here. The wind smelled like rain and pine. She looked up at the house. It seemed to loom over her. Inside, the manor was grand but cold. The floors were polished marble. The walls were lined with portraits of stern-faced ancestors. Chandeliers hung from high ceilings. But there were no flowers, no warm rugs, no softness. Mr. Greaves led her up a wide staircase. "His Grace is attending to business in the city. He will return tomorrow. You will stay in the east wing. Your rooms have been prepared." He opened a door. The room was large. A 4-poster bed stood against one wall. Heavy curtains framed the windows. A fireplace sat cold and empty. Everything was clean, expensive, and completely impersonal. "If you need anything, ring the bell," Mr. Greaves said. Then he left. Serafina stood alone. She walked to the window. It overlooked the gardens. They were neat but bare. No roses, no color, just hedges and gravel paths. She pressed her hand to the glass. This was her new home, this cold, silent place. She wondered if she would ever feel warm again. That night she could not sleep. She lay in the large bed and listened to the house. It creaked and groaned. Wind rattled the windows. Somewhere, a door closed. She thought of Lucian, his cold eyes, his sharp words. "I will uncover the truth." She shivered. The next morning she woke early. She dressed and went downstairs. She did not know where to go or what to do, so she wandered. The house was a maze. Hallways branched in every direction. Rooms opened into more rooms. She passed a music room with a dust-covered piano, a library with walls of books, a gallery filled with paintings. Then she found a door that was slightly open. She peeked inside. It was a study. Dark wood furniture, shelves lined with ledgers, a desk covered in papers, and Lucian. He sat behind the desk. His coat was off, his sleeves were rolled up. He wrote something in a ledger. He did not look up. "Come in or leave," he said, "but stop hovering." Serafina froze. Then she stepped inside. She closed the door softly behind her. Lucian set down his pen. He leaned back in his chair. He looked tired. Shadows sat under his eyes. "Did you sleep well?" he asked. "Not particularly." "Good. Neither did I." She did not know what to say to that. He gestured to a chair. "Sit." She obeyed. The chair was stiff. She folded her hands in her lap. Lucian watched her. "We need to establish rules." "Rules?" "Yes, for this arrangement." She waited. He tapped his fingers on the desk. "First, you will be my wife in name only. You will have your rooms, I will have mine. We will not share a bed." Her cheeks flushed, but she nodded. "Agreed." "Second, you will behave appropriately in public. You will smile. You will play the role of a duchess. You will not embarrass me." "I understand." "Third," his eyes hardened, "you will tell me the truth. Eventually. I am a patient man, Miss Holt, but I do not forgive lies." She swallowed. "And if I do not?" "Then you will learn what it means to cross a duke." Silence filled the room. Serafina's heart pounded, but she forced herself to meet his gaze. "I have my own condition." His eyebrow raised. "Do you?" "Yes. You will not hurt me." He blinked. Surprise flickered across his face. Then it was gone. "I am not a monster," he said quietly. "I do not know what you are." His jaw tightened. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he nodded. "Very well, I agree. I will not hurt you." She exhaled. Lucian stood. He walked around the desk. He stopped in front of her. He looked down. His expression was unreadable. "3 days," he said, "and then you will be my wife. I suggest you prepare yourself." She stood as well. She was much shorter than him. She had to tilt her head back to see his face. "I am already prepared," she said. His lips twitched, almost a smile, but not quite. "We shall see," he murmured. Then he walked past her and left the room. Serafina stood alone. Her pulse raced, her hands shook, but she did not run. Not yet. The wedding took place in the manor's private chapel. It was a small stone building at the edge of the estate. Ivy climbed the walls. Stained glass windows let in coloured light. There were no guests, only the priest, Mr. Greaves, and a maid who served as a witness. Serafina wore a dress that had belonged to Lucian's mother. It was white silk with lace at the sleeves. It fit well enough. A maid had pinned her hair up and placed a thin veil over her face. She looked like a bride. She felt like a fraud. Lucian stood at the altar. He wore a dark coat. His expression was blank. He did not look at her as she walked down the aisle. He only stared straight ahead. She stopped beside him. The priest began to speak. His voice echoed in the small space. Serafina barely heard the words. Her mind buzzed. Her hands were cold. She felt like she was watching herself from far away. Then the priest asked the question. Do you, Serafina Holt, take this man to be your lawful wedded husband? She opened her mouth. Her voice came out soft. I do. The priest turned to Lucian. And do you, Lucian Ashford, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife? Lucian's jaw tightened. He hesitated, just for a second. Then he said, I do. The priest smiled. Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Serafina's heart stopped. Lucian turned to her. His grey eyes met hers. He lifted the veil slowly. His fingers brushed her cheek. The touch was light, careful. Then he leaned down. His lips touched hers. It was brief, gentle, over in a heartbeat, but it burned. He pulled back. His expression gave nothing away. The priest clapped his hands. Congratulations, Your Grace! Your Grace! And just like that, Serafina was a duchess. They returned to the manor in silence. Lucian walked ahead. Serafina followed. The maid trailed behind. Inside, Mr. Greaves waited with a tray of wine. Congratulations, Your Grace, he said to Lucian. Then to Serafina, Your Grace. The title sounded strange. She did not feel like a duchess. She felt like an imposter. Lucian took a glass. He did not offer her one. He drank it in one swallow. Then he set the glass down. I have business in the city, he said. I will return tomorrow. Serafina blinked. You're leaving? Yes. But it's our wedding day. His eyes were cold. A wedding in name only, Miss Holt. Or should I say, Your Grace. Do not expect me to pretend otherwise. He turned and walked away. The front door opened and closed. Hooves clattered on gravel. And he was gone. Serafina stood in the empty hall. The maid shifted uncomfortably. Mr. Greaves cleared his throat. Shall I show you to your rooms, Your Grace? He asked. She nodded. She did not trust her voice. He led her upstairs, back to the east wing, back to the cold, empty bedroom. Dinner will be served at 7, he said. Then he left. Serafina sat on the edge of the bed. She stared at her hands, at the thin gold ring on her finger. It was too loose. It spun when she moved. She was married. She was a duchess, and she had never felt more alone. Dinner was served in a small dining room. The table was long. Serafina sat at one end. The other chairs were empty. A maid brought soup, bread, roasted chicken. Serafina ate slowly. The food tasted like nothing. When she finished, she returned to her room. She changed into a nightgown. She brushed her hair. She climbed into bed. The house was silent. She lay in the dark and listened. Wind howled outside. The fire in the hearth had burned down to embers. Shadows danced on the walls. She thought about Lucian, about the way he had kissed her. Soft, brief, like he was keeping a promise but wanted it over quickly. She wondered where he was now, if he was thinking about her, if he hated her. Probably. She closed her eyes. Sleep did not come. Instead, she thought about the lie, about the baby that did not exist, about the moment when Lucian would finally learn the truth. What would he do? Would he annul the marriage? Cast her out? Worse? Her chest tightened. She curled onto her side. Somewhere deep in the house, a door slammed. Serafina's eyes flew open. She sat up. Her heart pounded. Had Lucian returned? She listened. Footsteps. slow, heavy. They moved down the hall. Then they stopped, right outside her door. She held her breath. The handle turned. The door opened. A figure stood in the doorway, tall, broad-shouldered. Lucian. He did not step inside. He only stood there. The firelight caught his face. His expression was dark, haunted. "I thought you were not returning until tomorrow," Serafina said softly. "I changed my mind." His voice was rough, like he had been shouting or drinking. She pulled the blanket higher. "Why are you here?" He did not answer right away. He only stared at her. Then he stepped inside. He closed the door behind him. Serafina's pulse raced. "Your Grace." "Do not call me that." She swallowed. "Lucian." He flinched, like hearing his name from her lips hurt. He walked to the window. He stood with his back to her. His shoulders were tense. "I have been thinking," he said. "About what?" "About why you did this." Her stomach twisted. "I told you." "You lied." He turned to face her. His eyes were sharp, searching. "But I want to know why. What could drive a woman to make such a claim? To risk everything?" She looked away. "I cannot tell you." "Cannot? Or will not?" "Both." He crossed the room. He stopped beside the bed. He looked down at her. "You are afraid?" It was not a question. She met his gaze. "Yes." "Of me?" "Of everything." His expression softened, just a fraction. "I told you I would not hurt you." "I know." "Then tell me the truth." She shook her head. Tears pricked her eyes. "I cannot." Lucian exhaled slowly. He ran a hand through his hair. He looked tired, lost. "Fine," he said quietly. "Keep your secrets. But know this, Serafina. I will protect you, even from yourself." Then he turned and left. The door closed behind him. Serafina sat alone in the dark. Tears slipped down her cheeks. She did not understand him. He was cold, angry, but also something else. Something she could not name. But it scared her more than his threats ever could. Lucian did not leave again. He stayed at Thornhill, but he avoided her. Serafina saw him at breakfast sometimes. He read the paper. He drank coffee. He did not speak. She saw him in the gardens, walking alone, his hands behind his back, his face turned toward the trees. She saw him in his study, late at night. The light from his lamp spilled into the hall. But they did not speak. The silence stretched between them like a wall. Serafina spent her days exploring the manor. She found a conservatory filled with dead plants, a ballroom covered in dust, a tower room with a view of the woods. She also found the servants. There were not many. Mr. Greaves, 2 maids, a cook, a gardener. They were polite but distant. They called her Your Grace and curtsied, but they did not smile. She felt like a ghost in her own home. One afternoon she sat in the library. She pulled a book from the shelf. It was a volume of poetry. The pages were yellowed, the ink faded. She opened it, and a letter fell out. It was old. The paper was brittle. The handwriting was elegant. She unfolded it carefully. "My dearest Lucian, I know you do not understand, but I had no choice. Please forgive me. I will always love you. E." Serafina stared at the letter. Who was E? And what had she done? She folded it carefully. She placed it back in the book, but the words stayed with her. I had no choice. Just like her. That night, she could not sleep again. She put on a robe and wandered the halls. The house was dark, only a few candles flickered in sconces. She found herself outside Lucian's study. The door was cracked open. Light spilled out. She hesitated. Then she knocked softly. "Come in," his voice called. She pushed the door open. Lucian sat behind his desk. Papers surrounded him. He looked up. Surprise flashed across his face. "Serafina!" She stepped inside. "I could not sleep." "Neither could I." She glanced at the papers. "What are you working on?" "Estate business." He set down his pen. "Did you need something?" She shook her head. I was walking, and I saw the light." He studied her. Then he gestured to the chair. "Sit, if you like." She sat. The room was warm. A fire crackled in the hearth. It felt less lonely than her bedroom. Lucian leaned back. "Do you miss your home?" The question surprised her. "Not particularly." "Why not?" She hesitated. Then she said, "Because it never felt like home." He tilted his head. "And this place? Does it feel like home?" "No." "I thought not." Silence settled between them. But it was not uncomfortable. It was almost peaceful. "Why do you work so late?" she asked. "Because I cannot sleep either." "Why?" He looked at her. His grey eyes were shadowed. "Because I have ghosts, Serafina, and they do not rest." She wanted to ask what he meant, but she did not. She only nodded. They sat in silence for a while longer. Then she stood. "I should go," she said. He nodded. "Good night." "Good night, Lucian." She left, but as she walked back to her room, she felt something shift. Maybe they were not enemies. Maybe they were just two people trapped in a lie. But she did not know yet which was more dangerous. A week after the wedding, Serafina decided to visit the village. She needed to leave the manor. The walls felt like they were closing in. She asked Mr. Greaves to prepare a carriage. He hesitated. "His Grace did not mention you leaving the estate," he said carefully. "I am not a prisoner," she replied. He bowed. "Of course, Your Grace." The carriage took her down the hill. The village was small. A few shops, a church, cottages with thatched roofs. People moved through the streets. They stopped and stared when the Duke's carriage rolled past. Serafina stepped out. The driver stayed with the horses. She walked alone. The villagers whispered. She heard her name. Duchess. Scandal. Pregnant. She kept her head high. She walked into a small shop. It sold fabric and thread. An older woman stood behind the counter. She curtsied. "Your Grace," she said. "Welcome." Serafina smiled. "Thank you. I was hoping to look at your fabrics." The woman's expression softened. "Of course. Right this way." Serafina browsed the shelves. She touched the cloth. Soft wool, rough linen, a bolt of pale green silk. The woman watched her. Then she said quietly, "May I ask you something, Your Grace?" Serafina looked up. "Yes." "Is it true, what they say?" Serafina's smile faltered. "What do they say?" "That the Duke—" The woman trailed off. Her cheeks flushed. Serafina understood. She took a breath. "Yes, it is true." The woman's eyes widened, then she smiled. "Well then, congratulations, Your Grace. A child is a blessing." Serafina's throat tightened. "Thank you." She bought a length of ribbon she did not need. Then she left. Outside, the whispers followed her. She walked quickly. Her chest felt tight. Then she saw him. Lucian. He stood near the church. He spoke with an older man, the vicar, perhaps. Lucian's expression was serious. He nodded. Then he glanced up. His eyes met hers. Surprise flickered across his face. Then something else. Concern? He excused himself. He walked toward her. The crowd parted. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "I wanted to see the village." His jaw tightened. "You should have told me." "I did not think I needed permission." "You do not, but you should have told me." She frowned. "Why?" He glanced around, at the watching faces, the curious eyes. "Because you are my wife, and people are watching." "They are always watching." "Exactly." He offered his arm. "Come, I will escort you back." She hesitated. Then she took his arm. They walked together, slowly. The villagers stared, whispered, but Lucian ignored them. He kept his gaze forward. "You should not wander alone," he said quietly. "Why not?" "Because it is dangerous." "Dangerous? How?" He did not answer. They reached the carriage. He helped her inside. His hand was warm, strong. He held hers a moment longer than necessary. "Go home," he said. "I will return later." She nodded. He stepped back. The driver flicked the reins. The carriage rolled away. Serafina looked out the window. Lucian stood in the street. He watched her leave. And for the first time, she saw something in his eyes. Something that looked like fear. But she did not know why. That night, Serafina found another letter. She had returned to the library. She wanted to read, to distract herself. She pulled down the same book of poetry. But this time, 2 letters fell out. The first was the one she had seen before, from E. The second was new. The paper was newer. The handwriting was different, sharp, angry. She unfolded it. "Lucian, you cannot hide from this. I know what you did. I know the truth about Eleanor. And if you do not pay, I will make sure everyone else knows too. You have 1 month. M." Serafina's hands shook. Eleanor. E. Was that the woman from the first letter? And who was M? She heard footsteps. She quickly folded the letters and tucked them into her pocket. She grabbed the book and pretended to read. The door opened. Lucian stepped inside. He looked tired. His coat was unbuttoned. His hair was mussed. He saw her. He stopped. "You are here," he said. "I like the library." He nodded. He walked to the sideboard and poured himself a drink. Whiskey. He drank it quickly. Then he poured another. Serafina watched him. "Are you all right?" "No." The honesty surprised her. He turned. He looked at her. "Do you ever wish you could go back? Change the choices you made?" She thought of the lie, the scandal, the wedding. "Yes," she said softly. "Every day." He smiled, but it was sad. "So do I." He sat in the chair across from her. He leaned back. He closed his eyes. "Who is Eleanor?" Serafina asked. His eyes snapped open. His entire body went rigid. "What?" "Eleanor. Who is she?" His face went pale, then red. "How do you know that name?" Serafina swallowed. She pulled the letters from her pocket. She held them out. Lucian stared. Then he stood. He crossed the room in 2 strides. He snatched the letters from her hand. "Where did you find these?" His voice was low, dangerous. "In the book. I did not mean to." "You should not have read them." "I know. I am sorry." He turned away. He gripped the letters so hard they crumpled. His shoulders shook. "Lucian," she said gently. "Who was she?" He was silent for a long time. Then he spoke. His voice was raw. "She was my betrothed." Serafina's heart sank. "What happened?" "She died." The words hung in the air. Serafina stood. She walked to him. "I am so sorry." He shook his head. "It was my fault." "How?" "Because I did not protect her." He turned to face her. His eyes were red. She was fragile, delicate. She struggled with sadness, and I did not see it. I was too busy, too consumed with duty. And one night she went to the cliffs, and she did not come back. Serafina's throat closed. That is not your fault. It is, his voice broke. She left me a letter. She said she had no choice, but she did. She could have talked to me. She could have trusted me, but she did not. Because I failed her. Tears slipped down Serafina's cheeks. She reached out. She took his hand. You did not fail her, she said. Grief is not a choice. Pain is not a choice. She was suffering. And sometimes people cannot see a way out. But that is not because of you. He stared at her. His hand tightened around hers. You do not understand, he whispered. I swore I would never let anyone close again. I swore I would never fail someone I... He stopped. He pulled his hand away. Someone you what? She asked. He shook his head. It does not matter. But it did. She could see it in his eyes. He cared. Maybe not about her, but about the idea of failing again. And she realized something. He had agreed to marry her not just to protect his name, but because he could not bear to let another woman fall. Even a liar. The thought made her chest ache. What about the other letter? She asked. From M. His expression darkened. That is none of your concern. But... No, Serafina. His voice was firm. Stay out of it. He turned and left. The door slammed behind him. Serafina stood alone. The letters lay on the desk. She picked them up. She read them again. I know what you did. I know the truth about Eleanor. What truth? And who was M? But she did not know yet that the answer would change everything. 2 days later, a man came to Thornhill Manor. Serafina was in the garden. She walked the gravel paths. The air was cold. The sky was grey. She pulled her shawl tighter. Then she heard voices, raised, angry. She followed the sound. It came from the front of the house. She peeked around the corner. A man stood at the entrance. He was tall, thin. His coat was worn. His face was sharp. Lucian stood in the doorway. His arms were crossed. His expression was ice. You are not welcome here, Lucian said. The man smiled. It was cruel. I do not care. You owe me, Ashford. I owe you nothing. No? Then perhaps I should speak to your new bride. I wonder what she would think if she knew the truth. Lucian stepped forward. His voice dropped. If you go near her, I will end you. The man laughed. Protective, are we? How sweet. But it will not change anything. You have 2 weeks. Pay me, or everyone learns what really happened to Eleanor. Lucian's hands clenched into fists. Get out. The man tipped his hat. 2 weeks, Your Grace. He turned and walked away. His boots crunched on gravel. Lucian stood frozen. His face was pale. Serafina stepped out of hiding. Who was that? Lucian spun around. Anger flashed in his eyes. Then it faded. I told you to stay out of this. I was walking. I heard shouting. He exhaled slowly. He ran a hand through his hair. His name is Marcus Tremaine. He is a ghost from the past. What does he want? Money and revenge. For what? Lucian looked at her. His expression was tired, haunted. For something I did, or did not do. It does not matter. He will not stop. Then we must stop him. He blinked. We? Yes. She stepped closer. You are my husband, and I am your wife. Even if it is only in name, I will not stand by and let someone threaten you. He stared at her. Something shifted in his eyes, something soft. "Why?" he asked quietly. "Because you protected me, even though I lied to you. Even though you hate me, you still protected me. So now, I will protect you." His throat moved. He looked away. "You should not." "But I will." Silence filled the space between them. Then Lucian nodded. "Very well. But if we do this, you must trust me." "I do." He looked at her. His gray eyes searched hers. "Do you?" She hesitated. Then she said, "I am trying to." A small smile touched his lips. "That is more than I deserve." He turned and walked inside. Serafina followed, and for the first time, they were on the same side. But she did not know yet how dangerous that would be. They met in Lucian's study that night. The fire crackled. Shadows danced on the walls. Lucian poured 2 glasses of wine. He handed one to Serafina. She took it. Their fingers brushed. "Tell me everything," she said. He sat behind his desk. He leaned back. He looked at the ceiling. "Marcus Tremaine was a friend, once, years ago. He and I grew up together. We were close, like brothers." Serafina sipped her wine. She waited. "When Eleanor died," Lucian continued, "Marcus blamed me. He said I drove her to it, that I was cold, neglectful. He was not entirely wrong." "That is not true." He looked at her. "You did not know me then." "I know you now." His jaw tightened. "Marcus spread rumors. He told people I had hurt Eleanor, that I had locked her away, that I was cruel. It nearly destroyed me. My reputation, my name, everything. But you survived." "Barely." He leaned forward. "I paid him to leave, to disappear. I thought it was over. But now he is back, and he wants more." "What is the truth he claims to know?" Lucian was silent. Then he said quietly, "That Eleanor was pregnant when she died." Serafina's breath caught. "Was she?" "I do not know. She never told me. But if she was..." He closed his eyes. "Then I failed her even more than I thought." Serafina's chest ached. She stood. She walked around the desk. She knelt beside his chair. "Look at me," she said. He opened his eyes. "You did not fail her," Serafina said firmly. "You cannot control another person's pain. You cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. That is not your burden to carry." His eyes glistened. "But it is." "No," she took his hand. "It is not. And if Marcus Tremaine wants to use that lie to destroy you, then we will stop him." "How?" "By finding the truth. The real truth. Not the one he is selling." Lucian stared at her. Then he squeezed her hand. "You are braver than I thought." "I am terrified, but I will not let him hurt you." He smiled. A real smile. Small, fragile, but real. "Thank you, Serafina." She smiled back. "You are welcome." They sat together in the firelight, and for the first time, the space between them felt less like a wall. It felt like a bridge. They began their search the next day. Lucian took Serafina to the cliffs where Eleanor had died. It was a long ride. The land was rocky, wild. The sea roared below. They stood at the edge. Wind whipped Serafina's hair. Lucian stared out at the water. "She came here often," he said. "She loved the sea. She said it made her feel free." "Did she leave anything behind? A diary? Letters?" "I searched. I found nothing." Serafina looked around. "Where did they find her?" Lucian pointed. "Down there, on the rocks." Her stomach twisted. "Did anyone see her fall?" "No. She came alone, at night. By the time they found her, it was too late." Serafina touched his arm. "I am sorry." He nodded. He did not speak. They left the cliffs. They rode back in silence. But Seraphina's mind raced. If Eleanor had been pregnant, someone must have known. A maid, a doctor, a friend. They needed to find that person. Over the next few days, Seraphina spoke to the servants. Quietly, carefully. She asked about Eleanor. Most were reluctant. But one maid, an older woman named Ruth, finally spoke. Lady Eleanor was kind, Ruth said, but she was sad, always sad. She spent hours in her room. She barely ate. Did she ever speak to you? About anything unusual? Ruth hesitated. Then she leaned closer. Once, she asked me if I knew a midwife. Seraphina's heart jumped. Did she say why? No, but I gave her a name. Old Mabel. She lives in the village. Is she still there? I believe so. Seraphina thanked her. She ran to find Lucian. They went to the village that afternoon. Old Mabel lived in a small cottage at the edge of the woods. Smoke curled from her chimney. Lucian knocked. The door creaked open. An old woman peered out. Her hair was white. Her eyes were sharp. "What do you want?" she asked. "We need to speak with you," Lucian said. "About Lady Eleanor Ashford." The woman's expression darkened. "I have nothing to say." "Please," Seraphina said. "It is important." Mabel looked at her. Then she sighed. "Come in." Inside, the cottage was warm. Herbs hung from the ceiling. A cat sat by the fire. Mabel sat in a chair. "What do you want to know?" "Did Lady Eleanor come to you?" Lucian asked. Mabel nodded slowly. "She did." "Why?" "She thought she was with child." Seraphina's breath caught. Lucian went pale. "Was she?" he asked. Mabel shook her head. "No, she was not. I told her, but she did not believe me. She was convinced. She said she had to be, that it was the only way." "The only way for what?" Seraphina asked. "To keep him." Lucian frowned. "Keep who?" Mabel looked at him. Her eyes were sad. "You, Your Grace. She thought if she was carrying your child, you would not leave her." Lucian's face crumpled. "I was never going to leave her." She did not believe that. Silence filled the cottage. Then Seraphina asked, "Did anyone else know about this?" Mabel hesitated. "One man. He followed her here. He waited outside. When she left, he stopped her. They argued." "Who was he?" Lucian asked. "I do not know, but he was angry. He said she was a liar, that she was trying to trap you." Seraphina's stomach sank. "What did he look like?" "Tall, thin, dark hair." Lucian's expression hardened. "Marcus." Seraphina looked at him. "He knew. And he said nothing." Lucian stood. His hands shook. "He let everyone believe she was pregnant. He let me believe I failed her, when he knew the truth all along." Seraphina stood too. "Why would he do that?" Lucian's eyes burned. "Because he wanted me to suffer." They went to Marcus Tremaine's lodgings that night. It was a run-down inn on the edge of the village. The smell of ale and smoke filled the air. Lucian banged on the door. "Tremaine, open up!" The door swung open. Marcus stood there. He smiled. "Well, this is a surprise." Lucian grabbed him by the collar. He shoved him against the wall. "You lied," Lucian growled. Marcus laughed. "About what?" "Eleanor. She was not pregnant. You knew, and you said nothing." Marcus's smile faded. "So what?" "So what?" Lucian's voice rose. "You let me believe I had killed my own child. You let me drown in guilt, and you used it to blackmail me." Marcus shoved him off. "You deserved it." "For what?" "For being blind," Marcus shouted. "She loved you. She would have done anything for you, and you ignored her. You broke her. So yes, I wanted you to suffer. Serafina stepped forward. But she was not pregnant. So what truth were you going to tell? Marcus's eyes slid to her. That she tried to trap him, that she lied about being with child to keep him, that the great Duke of Greymont's betrothed was a desperate, broken woman. Lucien lunged. He grabbed Marcus again. His fist swung, but Serafina caught his arm. No, he is not worth it. Lucien's chest heaved. He stared at Marcus. Then he let go. You are right, Lucien said quietly. He is not worth it. He turned to Serafina. Let us go. They walked out. Marcus shouted after them. You cannot run from the truth, Ashford. But Lucien did not look back. Outside, Lucien leaned against the wall. He closed his eyes. His breath came fast. Serafina touched his shoulder. Are you all right? He shook his head. I wanted to kill him. But you did not. Because of you. She smiled softly. Then I am glad I was there. He opened his eyes. He looked at her. Why do you care? I have done nothing but hurt you. You have not hurt me. You have protected me, even when you did not want to. His throat moved. You deserve better than this. Better than me. Maybe, but I am still here. He stared at her. Then slowly, he reached out. He cupped her cheek. His thumb brushed her skin. You are extraordinary, he whispered. Her heart hammered. So are you. He leaned closer. His breath warmed her lips. But then he stopped. He pulled back. We should go home, he said. She nodded. Her chest ached. But as they rode back to Thornhill, she realized something. She was falling for him, and she did not know if that was a blessing or a curse. Marcus did not give up. 3 days later, Serafina was walking through the village. She needed air, space to think. She passed the bakery, the tailor, the flower shop. Then she saw him, Marcus. He stood in the street. He smiled when he saw her. Your Grace, he called. She turned to leave, but he stepped in front of her. Do not run. I only want to talk. I have nothing to say to you. But I have something to say to you. He leaned closer. His breath smelled like whiskey. Do you know why your husband really married you? She frowned. Because of the scandal. No, Marcus smiled. Because you remind him of her, of Eleanor. Serafina's stomach dropped. Dark hair, Marcus continued. Sad eyes, fragile, desperate. You are just like her. And he cannot help himself. He has to save you, because he could not save her. She shook her head. You are lying. Am I? His smile widened. Ask him. Ask him if he sees her when he looks at you. He walked away. Serafina stood frozen. Her hands shook. Her chest felt tight. Was it true? Did Lucien only care about her because she reminded him of Eleanor? Was she just a replacement? She walked back to the manor in a daze. She went straight to her room. She sat on the bed. Her mind spun. Then the door opened. Lucien stepped inside. Serafina, he said. I heard Marcus spoke to you in the village. She looked up. Is it true? He frowned. Is what true? Do I remind you of her? His expression flickered. What? Eleanor. Do I look like her? Act like her? Is that why you married me? He stepped closer. No. Then why? Because I could not let you be destroyed. Because you were alone, and I know what that feels like. But you said it yourself. You swore you would never let anyone close again. So why me? He was silent. Because I look like her, Serafina said. Her voice broke. Because I am just a ghost of the woman you lost. No. He crossed the room. He knelt in front of her. He took her hands. You are not her. You are nothing like her. Then what am I? He stared at her. His gray eyes burned. You are brave, strong. You do not break when the world pushes you. Eleanor did, and I loved her. But she was fragile, like glass, and I could not hold her without shattering her. Tears slipped down Serafina's cheeks. But you, Lucian whispered, you are fire. You lied to me. You trapped me, and you stood your ground. You did not run. You did not hide. You fought. He reached up. He wiped her tears with his thumb. I do not see her when I look at you, he said. I see you. Only you. Her breath hitched. Lucian. He leaned closer. And I am falling for you, Serafina. God help me. I am falling. Her heart stopped. Then he kissed her. It was not like the kiss at the wedding. It was not brief or careful. It was deep, desperate, real. She kissed him back, her hands tangled in his hair, his arms wrapped around her. When they pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. I am sorry, he whispered. I should not have. Do not apologize, she said. She cupped his face. I am falling too. He closed his eyes. You should not. But I am. He opened his eyes. He smiled, sad, beautiful. Then we are both doomed, he said. She laughed. It was shaky, but real. Maybe, she said, but I do not care. He kissed her again, softer this time, tender, and for the first time, Serafina felt like she was home. But Marcus was not done. The next morning a letter arrived. It was addressed to Lucian, but Serafina opened it. It was short, brutal. Your Grace, since you will not pay, I will take what I am owed. The truth will be printed in tomorrow's paper. Everyone will know about Eleanor, about her lies, about yours, and about your new bride's lie too. Enjoy your last day of peace. M. Serafina's hands shook. He knew. Marcus knew she had lied about the pregnancy. She ran to find Lucian. He was in his study. Lucian, she gasped. He knows. He looked up. Knows what? She handed him the letter. His face went pale, then red. How? I do not know, but he is going to tell everyone. About Eleanor, about me, about everything. Lucian stood. He paced, his hands clenched into fists. We need to stop him, Serafina said. How? By telling the truth first. He stopped. He stared at her. What? If we tell the truth before he does, he has no power. The truth will destroy us. Maybe, but it is better than living in a lie. He shook his head. You will be ruined. I am already ruined. We both are, but at least we will be honest. He looked at her. His eyes searched hers. Then he nodded. All right, we do it your way. They called for the local magistrate. They invited members of the Ton. They gathered everyone in the ballroom of Thornhill Manor. The room was full. Whispers buzzed. Everyone wanted to know why they had been summoned. Lucian stood at the front. Serafina stood beside him. Her heart pounded. Lucian raised his hand. The room fell silent. Thank you for coming, he said. His voice was steady, strong. I have called you here because a lie has been told, and it is time for the truth. The crowd leaned forward. Lucian took a breath. 3 months ago, my wife claimed she was pregnant with my child, and I agreed to marry her. But the truth is, I never touched her. Gasps filled the room. Serafina stepped forward. It is true. I lied. There is no child. There never was. The crowd erupted. Shouts, questions, accusations. But Lucian raised his hand again. She lied because she was desperate, because she had no other choice, and I married her because I could not let her be destroyed." "But you were deceived," someone shouted. "Yes," Lucian said, "and I forgave her, because I have made mistakes too. We all have." He looked at Serafina. He took her hand. "I love her," he said, "and I do not care what you think." The room fell silent. Serafina stared at him. Tears filled her eyes. "I love you too," she whispered. He smiled. Then he turned back to the crowd. "If you wish to shun us, so be it, but we will not live in lies anymore." Then Marcus Tremaine stepped forward. He pushed through the crowd. His face was red. "You think this makes you noble?" he shouted. "You are still a monster, Ashford. You killed Eleanor." Lucian's jaw tightened, but he did not move. "No," Serafina said. She stepped toward Marcus. "He did not. Eleanor made her own choice, and you used her death to hurt him. You are the monster." Marcus lunged at her, but Lucian was faster. He stepped between them. His fist connected with Marcus's jaw. Marcus fell. The crowd gasped. Lucian stood over him. "Touch her again and I will end you." The magistrate stepped forward. "Mr. Tremaine, you are under arrest for blackmail and attempted assault." Marcus was dragged away. He shouted curses, but no one listened. The crowd began to disperse. Some looked disgusted. Others looked thoughtful. A few even smiled. Lucian and Serafina stood alone in the ballroom. She looked at him. "What do we do now?" He smiled. "We live." 1 month later, life at Thornhill Manor was different. The servants smiled more. The house felt warmer. Flowers filled the rooms. Serafina walked through the gardens. She wore a simple dress. Her hair was loose. She breathed in the cool air. Lucian found her there. He wrapped his arms around her from behind. He kissed her neck. "Hello, wife," he murmured. She smiled. "Hello, husband." They stood together, quiet, content. "Do you regret it?" he asked. "The truth?" She turned in his arms. "No. Do you?" "No." She kissed him. Soft, sweet. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "I never thought I could be happy again," he said. "Neither did I. But I am, because of you." She smiled. "And I am, because of you." They walked back to the house hand in hand. The sun set behind them. The sky turned gold and pink. Inside, the fire was warm. Dinner was waiting. Their life together was just beginning. And Serafina realized something. She had lied to save herself. But in doing so, she had found the truth that love could grow in the darkest places, that forgiveness could heal the deepest wounds, that two broken people could make each other whole. She was no longer the desperate girl who lied at the ball. She was a duchess, a wife, a woman who had found her home. And Lucian was no longer the haunted duke who could not let go of the past. He was a man who had learned to love again. Together, they were something new, something better, and they would face whatever came next, together, because they had chosen each other, not because of a lie, but in spite of it. And that was the greatest truth of all.